Mavs look to end their 4-game losing streak tonight as they take on Kevin Durant and the Houston Rockets. We'll get you ready for tonight's game coming up next on the DLLS Mavs pregame show. Welcome to the DLLS Mavs pregame show, powered by Michelob Ultra at 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's a superior smooth taste we're playing for. Michelob Ultra, official beer sponsor of the NBA. Kevin Gray, alongside our DLLS Mavs analyst Bobby Carella. We are DLLS Mavs, your favorite guys, come your favorite team, as they look to break their 4-game losing streak as they take on Kevin Durant and the Houston Rockets. We'll get you ready for tonight's game over the course of the next half hour here. We'll let you know who's in, who's out. We'll get you our X Factors, and we'll be joined by our DLLS Mavs beat writer, Ron Harrod Jr., live from the AAC on this gorgeous Saturday evening. Bobby, what's going on?
It really was a beautiful day.
It was great outside.
Just walking around the city earlier, just soaking in the sun, soaking up the rays, whatever you want to soak in. That's what I was doing. I hope you were doing that as well. It really feels like this is kind of the end of the this is the last day of not knowing what day it is. It feels like you're in this sort of like in between kind of abyss thing between like the day before Christmas Eve and right about now.
Yeah.
You know, and there's like NFL games on right now, which kind of makes it not feel like Saturday, but tomorrow's definitely Sunday. So we're kind of getting back to normal here, and that's nice.
It does feel like the Christmas, New Year's, holiday time all kind of just smashes together, and it feels like one big long day for 2 weeks.
Every day is Friday.
Every day feels like a Friday.
And Monday somehow. It's
for sure,
really weird.
For sure. The work week feels off really
All of
weird.
the Michelob is definitely not helping that.
A little fuzz. No, I'm just joking. Let's let you know and get you ready for tonight's game as the Mavericks take on Kevin Durant and the Houston Rockets. Of course, your Mavericks come into tonight's game at what is 12-23 on the season after 35 games, 9-10 so far at the AAC. Rockets 21-10 on the season after 31 games, 11-8 so far away from Toyota Center. If you're going to be watching tonight's game, you can do so at 7:30 p.m. on KFAA Channel 29 if you are here locally, as the Rockets are a 7.5-point favorite tonight with the over-under at 227.5. Your Mavericks come into tonight's game 35 games in, sit a full 3 games behind the Portland Trailblazers for the 10th seed and final play-in spot in the Western Conference, as your Mavericks, of course, coming off that New Year's Day loss to Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, and the Philadelphia 76ers in what was a 123-108 loss at the American Airlines Center for their 4th straight loss overall. Overall, the Mavericks have lost 6 of their last 7 games and just 6-16 against the Western Conference so far this year, and 6-13 against teams above 500. They haven't beaten a team above 500 since December 23rd when they beat Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets. The Mavericks finished up their quick 2-game homestand tonight before they begin a 3-game road trip starting on Tuesday, Bobby, when they take on the Sacramento Kings at a start time, boys and girls, of 10 p.m. Central Standard Time.
How is that even allowed?
You're supposed to write the sternly worded letter to get rid of these things.
Roddy B!
So there it is. As the Mavericks will be on the road to take on Russell Westbrook.
Who can tell me who was in the picture before that? Don't go back to it, Tanner. If who can tell me? Who can tell me who that was? Tanner even stumped me. Granted, I'm watching this from a distance. All right.
It's the Rockets coming tonight, 3rd in the Western Conference, as they are just 2.5 games behind the Spurs for the 2nd seed in the West. They're coming off their 4th straight win on New Year's Day as they beat down the Brooklyn Nets 120-96 in Brooklyn. Overall, the Rockets 6-4 in their last 10 games, 11-9 against the Western Conference so far this year. They've been beaten up on teams below 500 for the most part this year, 11-5 against teams below 500. They are in a stretch, the Rockets. They're playing 5 of 6 on the road. After tonight, they will take on the Suns in Houston before they begin their own 3-game road trip on Wednesday when they take on Denny Avia and the Portland Trail Blazers. That gets us to the Corella Strader scouting report on what he's looking at between your Mavericks and the Rockets tonight.
Wildcat is correct. It is, well, it was. It is Gerald Green. That was in the standings graphic. Shout out, Tanner. Of course, Gerald Green, famous one-time Mav, and went on to play a lot more games for the Rockets than he ever played for the Mavs. There was a coach whose choice that was. Houston this year gets a ton of offensive rebounds. Now, I'm looking back at the game that the Mavs played against them almost a month ago already. It feels like it was just a couple weeks ago, but time is funny that way. Dallas won that game 122-109. Houston had 16 offensive rebounds. The Mavs had 24 defensive rebounds, which is about a 60% defensive rebound rate, which on most nights is bad, but against Houston, that's actually really good. Houston turned those 16 offensive rebounds into only 17 second chance points, which is actually below what they average for the season. This season, they're at 18.7 second chance points per game. They just gobble up second chances. Now, in that game, famously, there was no Alperen Şengün and there was no Steven Adams. It was Clint Capella that played a ton of minutes at center that night. 30 minutes, did not make too much of an impact. Did have 5 offensive boards, but he's just not the same guy, obviously, offensively and defensively, as someone like Adams or even Şengün at this point. Şengün obviously better offensively, but even defensively, he's just a little more fleet of foot. Now, over the last 4 games, Houston is 4-0. During that time, they have offensively rebounded 46.5% of their own missed shots.
Jeez.
Almost half of their misses. They just get right back. Like, it is unbelievable how many second chances they're able to generate. And that really is the key, because in that game that the Mavs won, Houston turned it over a bunch. Dallas was able to, it was like a run out dunk. It was like a layup line in the third quarter. Even during this 4-game winning streak, Houston is still turning it over almost 18% of the time. Mm-hmm. So almost every possession, they're either missing and getting a rebound or not getting a shot off at all. Like, it is crazy how few opportunities you have to get a rebound and get out in transition. So many times they're either going to get a miss and put it in, or you're going to have to force them to not even take a shot if you want to get a stop. Their offense is so good despite having some really weird, funky kind of characteristics to it. And it's just, I mean, that's the key. Can you limit them to at least only rebounding 40% of their own misses instead of 50?
Yeah, if the Rockets protected the ball at even a decent rate, they would be averaging 130 points a game. Like, they turn the ball over just way too much for a team that shoots as well as they do from the field. Speaking of the offensive rebound, Jason Kidd talked about that during his pregame comments about the historic pace that the Houston Rockets are in terms of their rebounding, what the Mavericks will have to do against them to thwart that. Tonight, here's what Jason Kidd had to say.
Yeah, I think when you look at Houston is, I think the best in the history of rebounding, offensive rebounding. So we have to box out. We have to rebound and miss. We can't give them second opportunities. They're the best in the league, and I think they're on pace to be the best ever on missed shots. So we have to rebound the ball. We have to protect the paint. Understanding we have to take care of the ball. And so if we can do that, hopefully that puts us in a place to win tonight.
J-Kidd was framed like he was in a Wes Anderson movie.
a lot of frame around him, a lot of pictures around him. Not only do the Mavericks have to rebound the ball well, especially on the defensive glass tonight, they got to find a way to start making some threes and taking some as well. That gets us to our lead story going into tonight's game. It is the Mavericks shooting woes going into this game against the Rockets, where Dallas is 5th worst in the NBA overall this year in three-point attempts. It's just 32.1 three-point attempts per game, and they're 2nd worst this season in three-point percentage overall at just 33.4%. In fact, in their last 7 games, Dallas is 30th. That is dead last in attempts, and just 25th in three-point percentage. That is 5th worst in the league currently. In fact, they are just 1-6 in their last 7 games, and they have just not been shooting the ball, despite the fact that they've got, check this out, the 4th best three-point shooter in the league today in Max Christie, who's hitting nearly 46% of his three-pointers so far this year. You might see him in the three-point contest during All-Star weekend.
Only 5 attempts per game, though, man. Get up like 10. Just see what happens.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Can the Mavericks find a way to generate more quality looks, and how can they do that, especially when they got a guy in Max who can shoot the ball as well as he's been so far this year?
It's tough because you can't just be like, let's take some more threes and then just shoot them just for the sake of shooting them, because this team has a lot of bad shooters. If this team had a lot of good shooters, then pretty much whoever's taking a three wherever they are on the court, it's going to be a good shot. But like Najee, for example, I don't want Najee shooting threes at all, but I definitely don't want him shooting threes at the top of the arc. PJ Washington, same thing. He's kind of struggling now. From the corner, he's okay, but from the top of the arc, I mean, I haven't looked at his percentage, but this is just, I mean, throughout his career, like he's just not, these aren't very good three-point shooters. Coop is just, God, he can't knock down a three to save his life right now either. AD, same thing. Obviously, you don't want Gafford or Dwight Powell or any of those guys shooting them. So really, it's only Max and Clay that you want shooting threes at all. And
you remember that one time when that one guy said that the season will go as Derek Lively and Anthony Davis shoot three-pointers?
Well, maybe he was right. Lively has made 0 this year, and the Mavs are in the lottery. But yeah, I mean, it's, you know, it's this isn't a system thing. This is a personnel thing, and so you can't change it without changing the personnel.
Sure.
Now, if you give Max the green light, just say, dude, I want you to shoot it 10 times a game, otherwise I'm going to bench you. Then yeah, he'll probably take 10, and probably 2 or 3 of them will be lousy shots. And it just, you have to live with that. But like, what is the point of that? You know what I mean? This is not going to change anytime soon. In fact, because the Mavs are so bad at shooting threes, they probably should be last in attempts. I wish they were higher in percentage made, but I don't want them shooting 53s a game, because they would shoot like 9 for 50, and it would be funny, but it would suck to watch.
Well, it's interesting because we talk about the three-point shooting between these two teams, as you see in the graphic there. Houston, in fact, for the season, they're dead last in the league in attempts from three per game. But guess what? They're second in the NBA in three-point percentage, so they don't take a lot of them, but the ones that they do take, they make most of them. So that just gives you an idea of what the three-point shooting looks like between these two teams coming into tonight. The Rockets, of course, led by, of course, two-time league champion and former NBA MVP Kevin Durant, who's had a sensational year so far for the Rockets, averaging over 25 points per game. The ageless one at age 37, shooting over 52% from the field. His running mate, Alperen Sengun, so far this year, averaging nearly 23 points per game, giving over 9 boards per contest, and giving nearly 7 assists per contest as well so far this year. The Mavericks, of course, going to be led by the big man in the middle, Anthony Davis, who was really good against the Rockets the last time these two teams together, with 29 points, 8 rebounds, going 14 of 19 from the field in that win against Houston. So far this year, averaging over 20 points per game and nearly 11 boards per contest. Cooper Flagg averaging over 19 points per game and giving you over 6 boards per contest as well. Jason Kidd has some interesting things to say that we'll talk to Ron Harrod Jr. about when it comes to Cooper Flagg hitting that rookie wall a little bit and how he has to embrace it and play through it just a little bit. The statistical profile of the Houston Rockets reads as one of the best in the association, especially offensively. They're number 2 in the NBA in offensive rating. They're also top 10 in defensive rating at number 8 this year. They're 4th in points per game, 4th in field goal percentage, number 2, as we mentioned, in three-point percentage. And oh, by the way, they're the best rebounding team in the association, grabbing nearly 49 boards per contest through 31 games so far this season. These two teams playing the third of 4 regular season matchups tonight, with the season series split at 1 game apiece. The Mavericks got the win the last time these two teams got together in what was a 122-109 win back on December 6th. As we mentioned, Anthony Davis had a monster outing with the 29 points that he had to lead the way. He seems to play pretty well when he gets together with the Houston Rockets. Hopefully more of that will continue tonight, as, of course, he's getting back for the second game after dealing with the groin and adductor injury that he had been dealing with. These two teams will play their final regular season matchup later on this month. In fact, the final day of January. On January 31st, that game will take place in Houston at Toyota Center. Coming up here in just a moment, we'll be joined by our DLLS Mavs beat writer, Ron Harrod Jr. live.
Is that Tim Thomas?
That is Tim Thomas.
Wow.
That is Tim Thomas. Good player, good role player for a long time.
Not a good Mav.
No, yeah, I'm about to say not a great Mav, but overall, Tim Thomas.
It wasn't a bad Mav. He just wasn't a good Mav.
It's one of my biggest memories of Tim Thomas when he was in a New York Knicks uniform. He was a good New York Knicks.
He had one game where Dirk was hurt and the Mavs beat the Cavs with LeBron.
Oh, he balled out.
Tim Thomas went crazy.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
That was like his season high by like double. It was awesome.
Before we get to Ron Harrod Jr., let's help you win some money tonight when it comes to Prize Picks.
Yeah, Tim Thomas's greatest contribution to the Mavs actually was blowing a kiss to Dirk Nowitzki in Game 5 of the 06 Western Conference Finals against the Suns, and Dirk ended up going off for 50 points that night. Now, if you took Dirk for more than 49.5 on Prize Picks that night, you're probably a millionaire. All right, you're still probably collecting resids from that pick. My Mavs pick of the night on Prize Picks, and look, this is 4 out of 5 losses by literally one stat.
You're on a losing streak too. We gotta get you off the schneid.
This is the opposite of epic, okay? But it's gonna change tonight. AD more than 7.5 rebounds. Cooper Flagg more than 3.5 assists.
Okay.
He's been wheeling and dealing lately, dude. He gets like 5 or 6 assists every night now. And then KD, so Kevin Durant, so AD and KD. KD's going to score at least 19.5 points, or more than 19.5 points.
I feel good about that for you.
20. Yeah, and if that $5 pick hits, I will make $12, and that'll more than reimburse me for the lunch I had today. Maybe it'll even help pay for the lunch I'm going to enjoy tomorrow.
See, normally I would get after you a little bit about, that kind of conservative.
I got to get back in the win column.
But that's what I'm saying. Like I'll let it slide tonight because you got to get back in the win column.
I got to get back in the win column. And if you want to try to play with me, download Prize Picks. Use promo code DLLS when making your first $5 lineup. You can make it different than me if you want. Maybe you'll have a better chance to win. And your account will be gifted $50 to use free lineups anytime you like on Prize Picks. It's good to be right.
Someone who is also right all the time when it comes to sports. He joins us now. You can find him on X at Ron Knows Sports. He is our DLLS Mavs beat writer, Ron Harrod Jr. Ron, Happy New Year. What's going on?
Happy New Year. I'm doing pretty good.
Question for the panel and for Tanner. How long can you say Happy New Year until it's like, hey, dude,
you can't do it anymore.
Stop doing that.
It's weird.
Oh, you're January 3rd, that's it?
I think it's like the 1st, or if you're returning to the office on the 2nd, then you can say it. But at that point, it's like, I'm kind of over it.
Oh, wow. So 3 days. That's it. You only get 3 days for a Happy New Year. You don't get a 5-day grace period. Just 3 days.
5 days.
You might not. You might be on an extended vacation.
What is this?
I'm just saying. You might
Years
be on
are only 365 days. After 5 days, we're already close to next year.
Monday is January 5th, so some folks might not have seen each other until they get back to the office
in
on
5
Monday.
days, I'm saying I hope you enjoyed 2026. All right, because it's almost over. Get ready for 2027.
Tanner, I need you to weigh in. What's the latest you could say Happy New Year to somebody?
Like the week, like probably today, I would say.
So 3 days. You get 3 days.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. All right. I see some folks weighing in the chat. Jonathan says January 5th.
Jonathan,
So
you're wrong. No
you get
offense.
a 5-day grace period. Okay. All right. Let us know in the chat. I'm interested to hear these answers tonight. Speaking of answers, Jason Kidd answers some questions.
Hellcat says he got Happy New Year in March.
March?
What?
Now we're doing a lot. March, come on. Like, relax. No, there's no way.
David's comment is so funny.
That's hilarious. Jason Kidd has to answer some questions prior to the game as well. What stood out to you from Jason Kidd's nearly 9 minutes of talking prior to tonight's game?
Yeah, well, one, I saw the graphic that Tanner had is kind of about how good of a rebound team that the Houston Rockets are. Jason Kidd said he think they might be the best offensive rebound team in NBA history. And statistically, they're not that far off, if not already there. That's something that the Mavs are going to have to do now. Ime Udoka did talk. I'm not sure if Steven Adams is in or out. I'm not sure if that's out yet, but he said that he's still having problems. I think with an ankle and like some foot swelling. I saw him walking around with like no shoes and stuff in the depths of the AAC. So I'm not sure if he's in, and he's like basically one of the greatest offensive rebounders in NBA history. But if he plays, this team essentially grabs every single, it seems, board. They're grabbing over 35% of their missed shots. I think they're even up to over 40% at this point. The Mavs, and Jason Kidd said, they're going to just have to box out and keep this team off the board to have a chance to win.
And yes, Steven Adams is out tonight for the Houston Rockets, the only one of the regulars who has not been dealing with the season-ending injury, like Fred VanVleet, who, of course, is out as he continues to recover from the right ACL tear that he suffered prior to the season. So Steven Adams is out tonight for the Mavericks. This is about as clean of an injury report as we have seen all season. Yes, Dante Exum, Derek Lively out for the season, and Kyrie Irving continues to work back from his left ACL tear. Other than that, it's just the two-way guys that are out. As Moussa Cisse, they protect one of his games, as he only has, I believe, 18 left? Tanner, 18 games left for Moussa Cisse.
Yeah.
So they got to save some games for Moussa as we move closer to the. Yes, there's the counter there. Two-way games. Dennis Rodman. Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Yes, there are 47 games left in the season. Moussa Cisse has 18 games that he can be available for.
I think Dennis only lasted 16 here.
That's probably an appropriate graphic, the way that you got that going on there. Ryan Nembhard only has 22 games left on his two-way deal as we are running up on.
Oh, he only played 12. So in his 12 games with the Mavs, he averaged 2.8 points and 14.3 rebounds per
That's
game.
amazing.
14
boards.
Wow.
Yeah. And he was like, you couldn't pay me $5 million to shoot the ball. All right. I am not going to score, but I will get every freaking rebound.
I love that. Other folks saying March 11th. I don't know if that's a joke or not. January 3rd is the latest you could say. Happy New Year. So, Ron, did you offer any particular thought on that? Or were you just.
On the Happy New Year thing?
Yeah.
I'm be honest, even the night of, I start getting annoyed after like every group chat. It's like, Happy New Year, everybody. And it's kind of like.
Did you say the night of?
Yeah, dude.
The
like,
night
I
of?
you
get
wake
annoyed
up
the
on
day
January
of.
2nd and you have Happy New Year texts. And
That's
it's like,
crazy.
Dude, come on, man.
You might not have been able to
I'm be-
hang
I'm
out with
be
some of your
honest.
folks. The night of is wild.
I'm be honest, I didn't even reply to like half the group because it's like everyone was saying it. So I'm like, they're not gonna realize I'm not the only person that didn't say anything. So I didn't even reply to half the chats. Happy New Year. One, because like, yeah, happy I made it to a new year. But like, bro, it's too. I'm in too many chats, everyone.
Ron's like, I have so many friends that I could lose half of them. I don't even care.
But the
I won't
night
even
of is
notice.
crazy though. The night of is a little wild. Like it's still like it's freshly the new year. Like I get like 4 or 5 days
it's like
after.
when you get like 100 birthday texts. Like you feel blessed. Like, oh, I'm glad I got a lot of birthday texts. But I have to reply to 100 people, and it's like, poor. What is this called? What do people say? Rich man problems.
All right,
But
well
a
then
problem's
I
a
won't
problem.
be texting you next year. How about that?
Yeah, I'll just be one less person texting you happy birthday.
I
man.
hope your birthday is average. Let's see if you respond to that.
It was. It was.
He's like, it was.
Have a crappy birthday.
David Collins says Ron hates New Year's. Lana with the $2 super chat. Anthony Davis, 5 games away from his 6-game Mavs streak.
We got to get the counter for
Let's
that.
bleep and go.
We got to get a game counter for the 6 straight games.
That would be such a depressing one. Like every time it gets to 5, it goes back to 0.
I will not shave my beard until he plays 6 straight games for the Mavs.
I meant to compliment you earlier. I
Oh,
see what
no.
you're doing there. You kind of, I see what you're doing there.
Thank
Yes, as the daily Mavs counter for games played and missed for Anthony Davis. Out of a possible 68 games, he's played 26
This before tonight. But
before tonight.
Oh,
I'm
so
not
tonight's
getting
game number 69. Let's get
and
weird.
the two-way games don't count because statistically they're just
Yes, the playing
invisible.
games don't count, which is
Yeah,
funny
sorry, playing.
because Cooper Flagg actually technically had a 40-point game before Anthony Davis did.
Yeah.
Because Anthony Davis's 40-point game came in the play-in against Memphis. Those statistics don't count. So technically, Anthony Davis has never had a 40-point game in a Mavericks uniform. Maybe he does that tonight. After having 29 against Houston the last time. That gets us to our Mavericks player spotlight, and we focus in on a junior like myself. P.J. Washington Jr., who has been devastatingly good against the Houston Rockets so far this year in 2 games. In fact, averaging nearly 22 points per game, giving nearly 10 boards per contest, shooting 51.5% from the field, and 3.5 steals in 36 minutes averaged against the Rockets. In fact, it felt like he had 15 steals against the Rockets in that third quarter in the last game that they played against Houston, where in that third quarter, it was just a turnover fest for the Houston Rockets, and P.J. Washington was a big part of that. Ron, he's got to be a big part to get himself turned around because he has not been great, including what was on New Year's Day. Had 11 points. It was a minus 22 in the 30-plus minutes that he played on Thursday night.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking for PJ Washington to try and just have just an overall good game, which means he's good on the defensive end. He rebounds, he shoots the 3-ball well, and he gets to kind of his shot, which is normally around the basket. He hasn't been bad by any measure. He just hasn't been the Paul Jermaine Washington that we were used to seeing in the first month of the season. But
he went
Jason Kidd was
government
going to ask who were his 3 most consistent scorers, and he didn't name PJ Washington. I'm not sure if he just forgot or he just genuinely thought that Anthony Davis, Cooper Flagg, and Najee Marshall, with the three players they named with an honorable mention to Max Christie. So I think that just kind of also tells you like who's kind of on the front of the mind of the coach of who are the players that have been, scoring the basketball efficiently lately. And those are the 3 to 4 players they thought of immediately. And that did not include PJ Washington.
Can I break in with some bad news?
Yes.
The Mavs starting lineup tonight. Anthony Davis,
Okay.
PJ,
Oh, no.
Okay.
Max,
Okay.
Coop,
Gaff.
and Daniel Gaff.
What the hell?
Yeah. Cooper Flagg
So what you're
is the
telling
point
me
guard
is,
once again.
So Cooper Flagg is the point guard tonight?
Mavs going double
well,
big.
technically Max Christie is listed as the one, it looks like, but we'll but to be
my
fair,
God.
Mavs fans, I have a nice juicy article on the website if you are a diehard that goes through 3 really good draft prospects. Not saying that's according to the starting lineup, but I'm just saying it's a very fun article that I would love for you all to read.
Artfully done.
Yeah,
that was nice.
That was excellent. That was excellent. Darren Peterson, I like that guy. I kind of want that guy. I know we were talking about AJ DeBance a lot. Darren Peterson's really good. But what the hell?
Can't be
is Jason
picky.
Kidd? Like, what is he doing? Like,
This season in 6 minutes together, granted, that sample size is
Oh,
about
gosh.
the size of a little toot.
this sounds
AD and Daniel Gafford, the Mavs are minus 32 per 100 possessions in 6 minutes.
Yes.
So they got outscored like 8-2 or something, and it's so it's not that big of a deal. But the AD with lively minutes were kind of earlier this season. Koopa, oh god, maybe it works out.
What do you hate more?
Can I
Coop
be-
at the 1 or AD playing the 4?
Yes.
Okay.
80 at 4.
80 at 4 is the worst. I mean, Jason Kidd did say recently, or was it Anthony Davis? One of the two of them said hope to play next to a 5 here soon. I think it was Anthony Davis actually. I was looking forward when Gafford gets back so he could play at the 4 again. Well, I guess he's going to get his wish tonight. Is this a function? I'm assuming this is a function of the large lineup that the Houston Rockets are putting out there to have both Anthony Davis and Daniel Gafford in the starting lineup at the same time because of how big Houston plays, even with Steve.
Yeah, I do think something to add is. Oh, I was gonna say I think something to add is I did ask Jason Kidd early in the game just from watching being at the last game, watching all the other games, of course, with you all. It seems like teams are taking essentially their point guard off of Ryan Nembhard and putting a bigger wing on him. And essentially he's like unable to score the basketball because 6'6", 6'8" players on a 5'11", 6-foot point guard. It's really hard to score the basketball, and he's usually not even faster than these guys. Like if you put Amin Thompson on Ryan Nembhard, he's not faster nor bigger than the guy. What is he supposed to do? Like he has no way to really be able to score the basketball. And clearly D'Angelo Russell nor Brandon Williams, Jason Kidd didn't want neither of those players to start tonight, or he would have done so. Because I think a similar problem is for Brandon Williams, and then D'Angelo Russell is, come back from an illness. So it seems like he's going with the players that he thinks would combat the length that the Houston Rockets have, even if that isn't like a favorable lineup, as we've discussed multiple times on the show.
B-Will had a really good game against the Rockets the last time the Mavs played. He had 20 points off the bench. Granted, a lot of that I think was in transition, but some of that was just in the half court. Again, it was Capella out there, not Şengün. The Rockets starting 5 is Thompson, KD, Jabari, Şengün, and then Tari Eason. Tari Eason also didn't play the last time the Mavs played.
That's right.
So we'll be seeing Şengün and Eason for the first time here. I mean, the Rockets they're really big, so it does make sense to not put Nemby out there, but it's just I don't know, man. I don't know how they score. The Rockets have the most efficient offense in the league, right?
All that stuff we said about the Mavericks shooting 3-pointers,
man.
Throw that crap out the window because there's literally one shooter in this lineup, and his name is Max Christie. There's only one good shooter in that lineup.
Jason Kidd said he wanted to take 10 threes per game earlier in the press conference. He said he wants 10 threes a game. So he's talked to Max Christie about getting 10 threes a game.
He literally said that? Hell yeah. That's what I said.
He did. That's
No,
exactly
like,
what you
go.
said. Yeah, that's exactly what you said. Once again,
so it was Bobby that told
you.
Jason Kidd to say that.
That's right. That's right.
Jake and I, we like talk all the time. We're boys.
W.
I mean, you mentioned the other night how all the Mavericks watched the DLLS Mavs post.
No, they're tuned in. I know they tune in.
Yeah, they tune in. So
they subscribe on Spotify or iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
Just search DLLS Mavs. 3 X factors in 30 seconds. Number one, you got to keep the Rockets on the offensive glass. We talked about it ad nauseum. The Rockets are the best in the NBA in collecting offensive rebounds. In fact, 16 offensive boards per game on average. That's nearly 2 better than the number 2 team in the NBA in the Portland Trail Blazers. Number 2, you have to limit second chance points if you're the Dallas Mavericks tonight. This is a Rockets team that's number 1 in the association, averaging nearly 19 second chance points per game this season. And finally, and Jason Kidd said this during the pregame as well, you got to man the interior because the Houston Rockets are absolutely fantastic in the paint, averaging 55 points in the painted area this year. That is number 5 in the NBA. So Anthony Davis, Daniel Gaffer, I'm looking at you two, gentlemen. Got to man the paint because this Rockets team can get after it, especially on the offensive glass. Ron, appreciate you joining us as always. We'll talk to you postgame right here on the DLLS Mavs postgame show.
See you, everybody.
Bye, Ron. Have a good game. The Mavs defense this year or their defensive rating with 80 on the floor this year, 115.3.
Yeah, it hasn't been great.
That seems really, really high.
Yeah, it hasn't been great. In fact, the Mavericks slipped to 11th overall in defensive rating.
That just seems so high. Now, with Lively on, it's 102.3. They really miss him.
They do.
Whenever it was Lively and AD for a lot of those games. But my God, man. Yeah, the defense really busy. It's been struggling lately.
Yeah. I implore you to look at the on-off numbers with Anthony Davis and Cooper Flagg. It's very interesting to look at some of those to see how they've played together so far this year. Appreciate it. Got Tanner made us look good and sound good as always. Thank you, sir. We'll be back here about 10, 12 minutes on our post-game show where evidently we might have Stein in studio because he's right here. Or maybe not. We'll see. But we'll be back here 10, 12 minutes after the final buzzer. Remember, tip-off at 7:30 p.m. at the AAC. You can watch the game on KFAA channel 29. PLH with a super chat at the buzzer. $1.99. I think I'm okay keeping AD at this point. We'll talk about that on the post-game show.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it feels like it changes every day. Is he going to get traded or not?
Every second at this point. That's our DLLS Mavs analyst, Bobby Curl. I'm your host, Kevin Gray. We are DLLS Mavs. We'll talk to you post-game right here on DLLS Sports. Y'all be good. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.